Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another Nerd Nation broadcast where we are having our Highly Illogical Podcast. On this session, we are going to be talking about what we want from Star Trek in 2021. I am joined by my normal compatriot in arms, Warp Factor Zam.
Hi, guys.
And let's just jump right into it. So, we wanted to talk a little bit about what we wanted from Star Trek upcoming this year. Now, we know that with the pandemic, everything's going to slow down for a bit. So all of these, and I mean, so it's maybe not more so predictions for 2021, just what we want to see in the following seasons of everything that came in 2020. Because, lower decks might come out in 2021. Picard season 2 may not come out until 2022. We're not sure yet. But if everything comes out in 2021 that they say is coming out, that's what we're here to predict. So, Zam, what do you want to start with?
Let's start off with maybe probably the thing that's got me least interested, and that's with Picard.
Okay. Star Trek Picard. So, just a real quick general consensus on, I know we talked a little bit about this in the past, but just for anyone catching us for the first time, what was your impression of season 1? Nothing detailed, just impression.
Stupid Easter eggs to remind us that we're watching Star Trek, but not Star Trek enough. It was a character study for sure, but it didn't do the character justice. And it just felt very thrown together, It felt very thrown together. Not good enough.
About my impression was I really liked Picard. I'm not saying it's great Trek because it's not great Trek. It's a good character study on a character from Trek. And that's why I feel like a lot of Trekkies didn't band behind this, because it's not about a ship and a crew. It's about a character. And that's why it doesn't feel Trek, and that's why it shouldn't feel Trek.
Well, we did get the ship and crew elements of it, but look, I have no problems with them going down a different route, but the story was shit. It really was. Everything about it, the twin sisters and the fucking robots and the android civil war and whatever the fuck that was, and it's just the way Romulans were portrayed as well. Like, it's just bollocks. I mean, just 7 and 9 was a shoe-in,
Yep.
Just, I wanted to look. I did enjoy moments of Picard season 1. I did. I did actually. Not many people know this. Like, first 2 episodes, I thought this was such shit that I gave up for several months. I did not watch this, but considering I'm the greatest Star Trek fan of all time, I told myself I had to watch this, and I did.
Yeah, it took you over a year to watch it, or a little under a year to watch it.
I told myself, you know what? If you guys are going to start talking Star Trek and I'm unable to talk Star Trek because I don't know, some of the lore hasn't been created because of I have not watching this show and not understanding additional Star Trek lore, I had to watch it for that alone. Yeah.
All right. Yep, I understand. Okay, so moving on from that. So what do you want? Okay, so we all know Discovery season 1 was, and every season 1 of every Star Trek show is kind of is trying to get its footing, always has missteps, always sometimes some bigger than others. What do you want? Like, let's say that in season 2 they are going to correct the missteps from season 1. What do you want from Picard season 2?
I don't know. Because it was a character study too, with a plot obviously regarding Data's the ghost of Data and all of that shit. But they can go almost any direction now. Like, Picard's got a new body now, even though he looks the same.
I think that is one of the issues that I have with season 1, was that I think that was the dumbest thing ever. Either you kill him and he's gone, and it's 1 season of Picard, or
That's what they should have done. They should have used the body, the Snick's body, to cast a new character.
Yeah, but that's getting into like a mind swap thing from Spider-Man in the comics, and
it was body swap.
Yeah, I still have issues with that. So,
he had the body swap anyway. He just looks the same.
I know.
Okay.
As I said, I don't like it either way. Either they kill him or they don't. Is one of the two things. I mean, in season 2, I would love for them to delve a little bit more into the Romulans. I want, and this, this is kind of why I wanted Discovery to go into the Picard era, post Nemesis, not into the 32nd century. Although I liked, and we'll get into Discovery later, but I want to explore this universe 20 years after Nemesis. I want to see what Starfleet is more like. I don't want to necessarily be on a starship and a crew like that. I want them to travel around, and I want them to see what's going on with, like, this is also some of the stuff I want to see with Discovery. Is like where the Ferengi are at, where the Cardassians are at, what's going on with the Dominion, what's going on with the races of the Federation. The intricacies of Starfleet post Dominion War. We don't know much about it.
Yeah, but this sounds more like a proper Star Trek series.
That's what I'm saying. But they can do it from more of an independent point of view rather than them being a part of Starfleet. They can kind of do their own. It could be more of a Firefly type scenario where they're just traveling around and trading, and Picard's just kind of a part of the crew at this point. And what's his face is the captain. I can't remember his name at this point, but he's the captain of the ship, and he's doing his thing, and Picard's just kind of along for the ride at this point.
I want to get some more depth out of the additional characters. I like that that pilot of that spaceship. It was very Han Solo, Poe Dameron. Like,
oh yeah. And I love the fact that he had like all the holographic versions of himself. That it's such a crazy but silly but awesome concept.
And there's stories to be made. I mean, holograms have made great stories since TNG. So there's some things to come out of that.
Now, would you want to see Richard Picardo come back as the Doctor? I know he looks older, so I mean, I don't. Maybe he makes himself look older. He doesn't
have to. I mean, like, didn't his character survive in the real life character, the Doctor character, the engineer, who didn't he survive in Deep Space Nine?
I don't remember.
He was in Deep Space Nine. Remember?
No, I remember he was in Deep Space Nine, but I don't remember if.
And he was playing the guy who created the holographic.
EMH, and he was trying to create a new EMH in somebody else's image, and that's why he went to Bashir.
Yeah.
But I think it was in Voyager where they were exploring, because remember the Doctor was trying to help him find a cure.
Yeah, look, I vaguely remember it, but if that character is still alive, I don't remember him being dead. Then that's the character.
He had a terminal illness. I don't remember if they cured it.
If he's alive, that's the character he should play.
Okay, I mean, I'm down for that. I'm not.
And he doesn't have to necessarily. He could just be an admiral. Like, he doesn't have to be anything more than that. He doesn't have to be going around trying to make new special holograms and shit or fly into battle. He could just be a fucking office desk admiral,
running the engineering division of Starfleet,
or just running Starfleet. Even, who knows? It could be along those lines. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see from Robert Picardo. If he's in Picard, which would be a good way of using him, in my opinion, because there was rumors that he was going to be in Discovery, as one of the holograms in the future, because obviously they're in the future.
Yeah, but that makes no sense. I mean, that version, and I mean, maybe they're just using that model, like that. Well,
he's immortal, isn't he? And he's self-aware. So
you mean like him actually being the Doctor from not Enterprise, from Voyager? Well, I mean, you know what? If they do it in a crafty way, I'm down. Like, if they find him on some derelict ship and they activate him like from his mobile emitter or something, I'm down for it. I would definitely be down for that. I love Richard Picardo. I think he was one of the best parts of that show.
I don't want like a mystery of the season, like some sort of like they did with the season 1 with this bullshit space Sherlock Holmes bollocks. I don't want that this season, the next season. I want something.
Wait, are you talking Picard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I want from Picard. I want them to. It's a bit like with the Mandalorian. Like, sometimes you don't know what you want. Just give us what you think we want, and we'll see if we appreciate it. And that's kind of what I want from Picard. I don't know what I want, but you give it your best shot and see if we appreciate what you give us in season 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So moving on. The next 5 minutes, we'll try to move on to the next show. But, what characters would you? And I know that they've announced characters, but like, what characters do you want to show up in season 2?
Actual proper characters or guest starring or a bit of both?
A bit of both, because we know that they're not going to come back. Like that'd be too many characters to have a bunch of.
I think Geordie and Worf has to show up next, just for the sake of the fan service and all that bollocks. If we can have original TNG characters, you know what? I would love to see fucking O'Brien show up.
Yeah,
I would love to see O'Brien show up. I want to see O'Brien show up, and maybe I don't know. I was about to say maybe are we going with other Voyager characters now? Because with 7 and 9 being part of that crew, they could throw in some Voyager characters, Easter eggs in there as well.
I mean, they could run into
Admiral Janeway.
Admiral Janeway, Captain Kim.
Yeah. I would like it even better if, if Janeway became president of Earth or something like that. That would be amazing.
That's not a bad idea. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't like Janeway as a captain, but as a president, that might be actually a really good idea. And here's the thing: is there was a fan film back in the early 2000s that was called Federation 1, and it basically followed the exploits of the president of the United Federation of Planets. It's old, and I think it was actually an audiobook. It wasn't even like an actual fan film. It was an audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
But it was this great concept of just like following the president around. What does the president of the Federation do? So that's just a little branch there, a little sidetrack. But I mean, that's like a good premise for maybe like a mini series on Paramount Plus by the time this stuff starts coming out.
Yeah, regarding the Janeway being president, though, obviously that coincides with Prodigy, which we could go on to next. But yeah, I just want to wrap up with Picard. Like regarding some of the characters, I've forgotten their fucking names. I would maybe like to see more of a Stick Boy, Romulan Stick Boy. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, all of them showing back up is a given. I mean, what's her face should probably go to jail for murdering.
Maybe, obviously, get some character development. It's just try and impress me next season, I guess. Yeah.
Well, here's my opinion is that a lot of those characters were pretty forgettable. I mean, and any of the memorable ones, 7 of 9, Keep, even his Picard's friend from years ago or whatever. Like she was pretty forgettable in my opinion.
Oh, that blonde doctor.
No, get rid of her. I'm done with her. She's fine. She can go away.
They gave her a pass. Oh, yeah, that was one of the problems I had with Picard. This woman just fucking murdered her husband or boy or a lover and shit. And the way they just brushed it off.
I know. It was. So that's why I'm like I'm not totally upset if they. I'm really not totally upset if they just write her off or something like that. I mean, I don't care. I want the captain to stay because he's hilarious and he's awesome. Stick Boy, I can't remember his name. He was okay. If he sticks around, I'm not fussed. And 7 of 9 are really the only 3 that
Stick Boy's got a chance to, he's a naive big fucker, yeah?
Yeah.
So there is character development to be made there.
Yeah. So, all right, the people that I would like to see, like either a Captain LaForge, Commander Kim, or a Captain Kim, and I don't know. I mean, LaForge, like maybe LaForge and Kim show up as 2 separate captains on 2 separate ships, like. Maybe like they're facing I don't know. I mean, maybe both ships show up and it's Kim and LaForge on their ships. You maybe have LaForge flying his Nebula class or something. He's been captaining for
I feel like he definitely deserves a chance to get in there and O'Brien for sure.
Yeah, I would like it if Picard goes to Starfleet Command. And then he has a mechanical problem, and then he goes and talks to O'Brien because O'Brien's pretty much a mechanical genius at this point.
Yeah, he can do anything.
Okay. Well, any other final thoughts? We're gonna move on to the next one.
None at all. Just like I said, just surprise me.
Yeah. All right. So you said earlier Star Trek Prodigy. I don't have much thought on this, so I'm gonna let you kind of
Likewise.
steer this one.
Well, no, I know nothing about this show. I believe it's a kids show. I know you might be able to help me with that. It's still quite vague regarding this, but
That's all I've heard. It's on
Kate
Nickelodeon and it's a kid show. That's it.
Kate Mulgrew will be in the show, I believe, as Captain Janeway in cartoon form, which is nice. Where this show goes, boldly, I have no fucking idea. But I'll keep an eye on it. If it's extremely kiddish, I'm not sure how much investment I'll have in it. But if it treats Star Trek the way Lower Decks treats Star Trek, by being different, but by being Star Trek at the same time, I'm cool with that.
Okay. And I mean, just because it's for kids, I mean, yeah, we may not watch it, but because I have kids, I'm okay with them doing something like this as long as it's good.
I agree.
So it's like, I mean, I may not be like totally into it, but I'm like, well, if it gets kids interested in Star Trek and everything like that, then I'm down. Like I don't feel like all of Trek has to appeal to me. Like I want to like all of Star Trek. Oh no, I want to be okay with all of Star Trek, but I don't feel like it all has to appeal to me because it's such a big universe.
Now, yeah, I agree too. Plus, I feel like Star Trek needs a new generation of people. The same way Star Wars needs a new generation of people. The people who tend to love this shit are people of our age, Bob, and a next generation pun. That was don't excuse the pun because I meant the pun there. A next generation is required, for the future of Star Trek.
Yep.
I mean, you can't rely on those old fuddy-duddies, to keep harking on this shit. And Star Trek has had a future, by the way. Like, it came out in the 60s. I was born in the 70s. You were born in the fucking 80s, yeah? It has had the future. It has maintained that shit with TNG, with fucking all the other shows that came after that. So do something right here, CBS. And I hope this Prodigy show does the trick. But it needs more than Prodigy. Like, Star Trek needs to be more than just cartoons for kids. Even old school episodes of Star Trek were good enough for kids and for adults too. You can merge it. I mean, if you know what I mean, Bob.
Yeah. Zam, keep going for 1 second. I will be right back.
No problem. I personally would hope this show is more I don't want to say necessarily serious. I don't want it to be like the animated series from back in the day in the early 70s. But we don't need it to be slapstick because we've already got that in Lower Decks, and what Lower Decks does is brilliant, and it's an adult cartoon as well. So you keep that sort of immature comedy for Lower Decks. But wonderful, nice shirt, mate.
I'm so mad I forgot to change into it before we started. I'm like, oh, I got my new shirt and I didn't even change into it.
A lovely shirt. It's a red shirt as well.
And it says expendable on it.
Yes, very nice.
Okay. Anyway, so I think we've kind of beaten. I mean, my prediction, as I said, I have kids. So as long as it treats Star Trek with respect, I'm okay with it being like a kid show. Just don't be like Teen Titans. Well, even Teen Titans Go has gotten better about it. But I mean, still, don't make it like stupid. Like, what is it, Adventure Time or whatever those stupid shows are that kid like no don't
make it educational as well. Like you make
yeah, definitely.
Like one of the good things like not Star Trek, Sesame Street. I know it's a whole different ball game here. Is that show was not only trying to educate you, but I think it was not only educating you regarding what letters are and numbers and doing the maths and all that sort of shit. I think it was educating you in just being a decent human being, and Star Trek does that as well. Regarding the diplomacy you get in Star Trek, and I want some of those elements to be taught down to our kids. Like there's shows in the past that have tried to not only entertain us but to educate us. Like Captain Planet and stuff like that in the past. I want this to be the same. I don't want people to think it's propaganda because there's nothing propaganda in in being a good person. I don't want it to teach us science because it's science fiction. This shit will never teach us science. but it will make us imagine. It will make us explore. It will hopefully break boundaries as well. We don't want people growing up, with ideals of, of having a barrier in front of you. We want our kids to be, imaginative, explorative, and hopefully a show like that will open up the minds of the next generation of children. Okay, I've bantered on too long. Let's move on.
All right, so do you want to go? Which one do you want to go into next? Let's do.
I'll let you choose. I'll let you choose this time.
All right, let's do Lower Decks because I love Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
What do we want from season 2 of Lower Decks? So since you're lighting up, I will start off. I really want them to continue with not the same that they've been doing, but like the same format. They've been doing a really good job. I mean, this show is the Easter egg, the Easter egg show, but it meshes a lot of it with the adult humor. And I mean, it kind of gives us the Trek post Nemesis era that we kind of needed. That kind of like it respects Trek 100%, but it also wants to just give it a little bit more of a lighthearted feel. So I kind of want them to do a lot more of the same. I mean, we left the last season with oh god, what is it? Why am I so bad with names? What's his name?
Mariner?
No, the guy.
Blemler,
yeah.
Boimler.
So Blemler got transferred onto the Titan. So obviously we're going to get more Will Riker, Deanna Troi, or Jonathan Frakes and me.
I mean, this is a big deal. Like they've just brought the crew together and then they're splitting up the crew.
I feel like something's going to happen in the first episode where he's either.
Well, I thought that regarding Discovery season 3 that they'll be back in our time, within an episode.
Yeah, but they didn't split the crew up though.
Well, they did with Michael going there with Michael. I mean, but they were trying to get back together. Yeah, but they were trying to get yeah. But I know what you mean. Actually, sorry, I'll take that back. I know what you mean. They are properly splitting up the crew this time around. It will be interesting to see how they pull this off, and credit to them for taking more chances. This is what I want from Star Trek. I think the problem with Star Trek recently is that they haven't progressed after Voyager. I don't want to say recently, but after Voyager, they never progressed with Star Trek. They went back, with Enterprise and with Discovery, and so now finally we're getting progression. It's all unknown now. Nothing has to be connected to this in order to fill in this. It all fucking just go wherever, and I love that, and I want more of that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I still consider this show loose canon. So it's like I don't necessarily take everything that happens in every episode as canon to Star Trek forever. But I mean, it's definitely a breath of fresh air. It is definitely, I don't know. Maybe they'll introduce a fifth character. I know they have 4 right now, and I'm good with that. But with Blemler going over to the Titan, they've got
other characters, like they've got the bridge crew who are additional characters,
Yeah.
But they play a bigger part on the show than I wanted them to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's still good. It's still good. I just want to quickly add that what I said earlier regarding progression from Voyager, I kind of mean that more regarding Discovery because it was initially a prequel show. Now it isn't, and which is what I like about it. But regarding this show, what I like about it is in my favorite sort of timeline in Star Trek, the TNG, DS9, Voyager timeline, and I love that period of Star Trek, and I want more Star Trek in that period. And that's why I like one of the other reasons why I like Lower Decks. I mean, most of your Easter eggs you're going to be getting from Lower Decks because it's set after Voyager, so there's loads of shit for it to dabble with.
This is true. Okay. Any other characters you would like to show up in season 2? Like, obviously it'll be voice actors, so you can kind of the sky's the limit with this one if they're still alive.
I never actually, after all this yabbering, I never really said what I wanted from season 2.
Oh, well, go ahead.
But what I want from season 2 is what I want from what they gave us in season 1. There was a very light season narrative for the whole show, and that was, is it not Detmer? Mariner?
Mariner and her mom is the captain.
as mum was the captain, and I thought everyone fucking knew. So when the beans were spilled on the penultimate episode, and then we went on to the final episode, I was kind of surprised by that. But nevertheless, if they do that again, some sort of minor, very not so important until the end of the season sort of narrative, I would be cool with that, because that's the way shows are going now. But at the same time, still keep it episodic.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I agree with you 100%. I kind of want that loose narrative, but yet, the episodic format. I think it's very good for this show.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to see, there was 10 episodes in season 1? Would you like, because they're only 30-minute episodes, would you like to see more episodes or longer episodes?
If they do an overall narrative, then it's got to be just 10 episodes. But if they just make it episodic, which I'm totally fine with too, then I'm happy to have more episodes.
Okay.
Because then you can afford to even miss an episode and not feel like, oh shit, I need to go back and watch that, because that's the greatest thing about Star Trek in the past, that you could afford to miss episodes and not have to worry about not watching, like ruining the show and shit.
Yeah, well, that's why Deep Space Nine wasn't as popular back in the 90s, was because, the 90s was because, it was very syndicated, and
it ended up being that way.
It was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Like nowadays in the binging format, DS9 is more popular than ever right now, and that's because you can binge it. So DS9 was just ahead of its time, and kudos to them. But I agree with you. I feel like instead of longer episodes, because I feel like the episodes were a good length, I feel like I would want more episodes per season.
Yeah, more episodes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Only if they don't go for an overall arc. If they do, then it will stretch out unnecessarily. And I think that would hamper the episodes by having to fit in an arc as well as try to make it episodic. So I wouldn't want that. I think that would hamper the writing for the episodes to squeeze both in for so many episodes. But in 10, you could probably do that, no problem.
Yeah, and I agree. I like the light narrative format that they had. Like the only real narrative was like overarching was the mom and daughter thing.
Yeah,
and I mean. And I like that. I like the fact that there wasn't some big scandal, whatever, on the ship and yada yada. It's just, it was what it was.
Even the final, I just want to quickly go back. Like that final episode, Boimler wasn't played for laughs in that final episode. He became a proper officer. He wasn't bumbling around and stuff like that. There was a good arc to his character, so I don't really expect him to be too much of a bumbler in season 2. If you know what I mean. You might fuck up now and again, and that's Boimler for you, but not too much. Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to choose the next one, or?
Oh, excuse me. What have we got left?
Well, we got the premiere season of Strange New Worlds, and I think Discovery season 4 is really all over.
We'll leave Discovery till last. Strange New Worlds.
All right. Do you want to start or want me to?
I'll start. Now, this show is kind of replacing Discovery in what Discovery's format was, but it's giving us more familiar ground, so to speak, having Captain Pike, having Commander Spock, and maybe a few other characters on that bridge we might recognize in the future as well, played by different actors. But if this show could harken elements of the original series, that would be great. That would be really fucking great. I really want this, to do that. I'm not sure if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, and honestly, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more interested in this show because I loved the actor who played Pike. I like the actor who played Spock, and I like Rebecca Romijn. So, I mean, I'm kind of on board with this. Now, this show may come out and it may be garbage, and I may be eating my words. I'm not sitting here saying that, like, oh, this is such a great idea for a show. I mean, I hope they do go to that original series format where it's like they go to Strange New Worlds, which is in the name. And, we get to see it. I don't feel like they need to expand the lore anymore because we know it all in this era, because we've seen TNG and we've seen DS9 and Voyager. We don't need to see how they met the Cardassians or how they met some certain race. Like I want them to kind of expand. I want them to kind of just do, a character, like not a character study, but like a ship. Like if the ship was a character, I want them to do the character study on the ship and the crew. I mean, we know the ship's not going to be destroyed because obviously it's going to be in the original series, unless you do some timeline shenanigans. But I mean, you can have Harry Mudd come back, and I honestly would like for that.
I just like the Captain Pike narrative is going to be there for the whole season, the whole series, let alone just for one season. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But if you notice that before the original series, Star Trek was very much, with Discovery, with with Enterprise, it was very similar in sort of style to how the Next Generation was. It wasn't God aliens and shit like that. So this show needs to be God aliens and shit like that. It really does. It needs to back up the original series, that this period of time we came across some really crazy fucking shit, and that's what this show needs to do, in my opinion.
Okay. I don't know if I'm 100% on board with that, but I see where you're coming from. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I don't know.
It's just like before that, no God aliens, hardly any God aliens after that. But during fucking Kirk's period, fucking God aliens nearly every fucking episode.
And I agree with you, as I said. I think that but that's one of the reasons why I don't like the original series as much, is because you had all these God aliens. And if they explained some of that, like, oh, this is why this person appeared because they were so technological. It's like the Asgardians to humans in the MCU. It just seems like magic, but it's actually just technology we don't understand. And I understand that. And if they did a little bit of it, but I mean, it did always seem jarring for there to be God aliens in TOS, and then TNG and all the beyond there's like nothing. And even in Enterprise and Discovery, there's not really any God aliens.
No, I wouldn't want it for every episode, but I want them to be in a lot of pickles and predicaments and, fucked up scenarios, shit like that. I want them to be at the same time, just still be classic Trek with the diplomacy angles as well. But they really need to harken that spirit of the original series if they're going to do it, if they're going to do this show, and don't be a clone of some of the other stuff, because there's plenty of the other shows are very similar to each other, barring the original series. And that's why the original series needs to have something that replicates it, in my opinion.
And as I said, I'm not saying it's a bad premise. I'm just saying I'm not on board with it. And as I said, people may love it. It may be the best thing since sliced bread. We'll see. I just want to see more of, like, I want to meet more of the crew of the Enterprise prior to Kirk. As I said, I like Pike. I'm not. I mean, I'm going to get a shirt that says "like Pike."
Who was in the pilot episode? I believe Uhura and Sulu was in the pilot episode. No,
were they?
I'm not sure.
They might have been. No, Chekhov wasn't, and
Chekhov didn't come till season 2.
Yeah, and I don't know if Scotty was there. Was he there?
I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if Bones was there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it would be, like I said, it would be nice if we would get the odd other character from the original series back. I'm not sure if they'll get one of the Kelvin actors to play it. Obviously, we can't do Anton Yelchin, and obviously he's not around, and he'll be too fucking young, his character anyway. So forget all about that. But yeah, all right, let's move on.
All right, so the grand finale, Star Trek Discovery, Season 4. Zam, I know you want more Michael Burnham.
I want more Michael Burnham as the captain, but I don't want more Michael Burnham overall now. I'm going to get quite deep here now. I feel there is a difference between me not wanting Michael Burnham, and you're on my side of the fence on this, by the way, Bob. I'm not putting you on a different side here. I think you're the same as me. And I do think there's a lot of people who have an issue with Michael Burnham because she's a black woman. you know, you can read between the lines. I am not one of those people who has an issue, and neither is Bob, one of those people who has that issue. But there are.
My issue is writing and screen time.
My issue is just that the wealth needs to be shared. There are loads of other characters. Like Star Trek has had, like you would have leading characters in every episode of Star Trek. They're always the fucking captain and first officer, but there'll be whole episodes dedicated to other characters. Like Worf, like LaForge, like the Doctor. Like Data. There'll be whole episodes dedicated to them. So we know more about them. And Troy had loads of episodes as well.
I want to get to know Detma and Bryce, and I can't remember the Asian guy, but that guy, I want to know more. We know everything we need to know about Burnham right now. Saru, although I love Saru.
Tilly as well. We know quite a lot
Tilly,
about
well,
Tilly.
that was going to be my third one, was Tilly. We know as much as we need to know. And even
Stamets, I would say.
Stamets, we kind of know enough about. I would love more Huber, though. Dr. Huber. So
yeah, but these are what you have to understand, that these are developed supporting cast characters to run alongside Michael Burnham. Like, when we saw a lot of the emotion we saw from Stamets, he was pissed at Michael. You know what I mean? It was all towards fucking Michael. So Michael Burnham's needs to be in several of the future episodes, just somebody who's just a supporting character herself, who might only have about maybe 30 lines in the episode, and that's about it. She just we're following Detmer. We're following that short-haired engineer. It's about her. Maybe she turns into a robot one episode, and they have to try and resolve it. Something like that. It doesn't have to be about Michael Burnham all the fucking time. Funnily enough, I don't want a massive overarching narrative for season 4. I want a different change again. We already know that they have to try and basically resupply the universe with dilithium. Yeah.
And honestly, that's a good premise for this format, because it's like we can get to see the other races in the 32nd century.
Exactly. And that's all we need for an overarching story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Nothing more than that, and it'll be good to see Discovery going to these different planets, having to deal with different aliens and different customs, and maybe something fucks one of them up, or some shit like that, and having to deal with the situation. Maybe one of them wants to stay there, and then they change their mind. And, all these sort of fucking episodes we've had, and it's just focused on that particular crew member more than any on that particular episode. The only thing is, I think the reason why they made it so Michael Burnham centric is because we've only got 13 episodes a season and not like 26 or whatever they had in the past.
But I feel like we've done as much as we can with Michael Burnham.
Unfortunately, we haven't, because she's now captain, and there's a whole fucking new. No, but I do feel there's more to come from Michael Burnham, but it doesn't have to be all of Michael Burnham. I want more to come from Michael Burnham. She's now fucking captain. I want to see how fucking bad, because she's a fucking one of the best badass characters in Star Trek. She really is.
I feel like in season 3 they did utilize her badassery way better than they had in the past couple seasons. Yeah. As I said, I mean, her being in that future for a year, in my opinion, was good, because it explained a lot of her badassery. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just this good.
She was a badass before that. She was rebellious. Like Giorgio said that, being here a year and stuff has really changed. She was fucking breaking the rules before that.
I'm not talking breaking the rules. I'm just talking about being like badass and knowledgeable and everything like that. So
yeah, and I'm very happy with how they've changed their character, because I find her really likable. I find Michael Burnham extremely likable. It's just a shame. It's just a shame they have to use her for everything.
Yeah, and as I said, on the episodes that are not so Burnham-centric, I do like Burnham. Like on the penultimate episode. Remember, I was saying Michael Burnham in this episode was great. She wasn't involved in everything, and they actually used her in a very good way, and it's not like it was all about her. But
you're right with the writing, like that, with the episode with the bars and that bars and shit. Like, it shouldn't have been Michael Burnham to talk the guy into giving the season. It should have been the Barzan lady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just
I
change
agree.
the writing around and make it a bit more special. You know, stuff like that. That's what pisses people off. Like, you know, Sonika Martin Green. She must be working her bollocks off. You know, like she doesn't have a chance to have a break. This woman, she's in every fucking scene. Give this woman a chance to take a breather. She doesn't have to use her for everything. She's in everything, man. It's ridiculous. And
during some of the TNG, sometimes Patrick Stewart only had to show up for one day of filming to get his scenes out of the way, because they were focusing on like Riker or Worf or LaForge. Like Picard just had to be walking down a hallway talking to somebody for one. Like he said some days I only showed up for one day for filming.
Yeah. So that's why they weren't necessarily all burnt out as much as you realized, because they shared the wealth.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's a problem in the writing. I don't feel like that's the actress's fault. I feel like that's the writing and the direction of the show's fault. Like, you know, but hopefully they've learned from this season, because there were a couple episodes in this season where I'm like, wow, Michael Burnham actually wasn't too, you know, like dominant in these episodes. Maybe they're finally starting to wean back a little bit. And yeah, she's the captain. Of course she's going to be in probably just about every episode. I mean, especially with only 13 episodes. You're correct. So it's not like I don't want to see her for a whole episode. I just don't want her to be the center of, I mean, show her sitting on the bridge and like you've got an away team of Stamets and then two, Bryce and Detma, and they're doing something on a planet. And the only time you see her is when she's on the bridge and she's talking to them. You know, like,
yeah, I agree.
That's
I agree. She sends someone on an away mission, and like, you know, there could be episodes where she sends people on an away mission, and she's on the bridge being captain.
Yeah,
and we just focus on that away mission for majority of the episode, and the B plot could be just them on the bridge or whatever, and she gets very, you know, just balance it out for fuck's sake. You know, I want to see actually, like, one of the things that's got my juices flowing, Bob, is like I really feel like this is like a good opportunity to see like the rebirth of the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like.
By the way, I coined that phrase at the beginning of Discovery Season 3.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, rebirth of the Federation is what I called it. That's what I wanted in this season.
And I want to see that. More like I want to see, you know, the alliances come together with back to Starfleet. You know, Earth as well. You know, I want to see more of that. You know, building those bridges and all that.
But I don't want it to be super easy for Earth to come back. Like, I want there to be not conflict, like as in space battles. I want there to be diplomacy and be negotiations and be things that, like, Earth is like, look, we were, you know, back 150 years ago plus, we were the punching bag of the Federation because that's where HQ was. We want to know that Earth is not going to be anyone's punching bag anymore. Like, we want to have, like, it's not, you know, it's like Earth was a doorknob. Everybody got its turn on Earth because it's just like Starfleet Academy was there, Starfleet headquarters was there, the offices of the Federation were there. I want there to be an episode dedicated to the Earth joining the Federation, but I want it to be like the Vulcan episode where it's just they go deep into it, and it's like it's not just this easy. Well, yeah, of course we'll rejoin the Federation. Why not? You know, I want there to be some controversy in there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that as well. I want to see the Klingons as well. I don't want them to be a main thing though.
No,
At the same, I can't stand the design of the Klingons in Discovery, by the way.
Yeah, season 1, that was just awful. I hated every single. I don't mind there being like, what is it, the albino? I
mean, it just reminded me of like some of the vampires you saw in Blade and shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
They look absolutely awful, man. I don't know what it was.
I was thinking about this. What if, like, I one of the races that I really want to see what they've been doing since in the 32nd century is I want to see what the Ferengi are up to. A, because I love them in DS.
Hell yeah.
But here's the thing. Yeah. Wouldn't it be amazing if they went and like the Ferengi? Because remember, in the original TNG episodes, the Ferengi were almost like they were supposed to be like the Klingons of the original series. Like they were supposed to be kind of the antagonists, and that kind of fell off the rails. And so then they kind of turned into this other thing in DS9. I want to see what happens if the Ferengi turn into two different types, like two different races, not races, but like two different sects, where it's like the warrior class and like the financial or the economic class, or if they went back to their roots and they're like all like very like aggressive and like they don't value profit anymore. They value like victory, or kind of like the Hirogen from
Bob, I was thinking very similar lines to what you were saying, yeah. But not warrior class, but more like honorable class. Like I feel like I want Nogs being part of Starfleet, leaving a 1,000 year sort of trail, like ripple effect that has changed so many Ferengis that they don't want to be like people like sorry, go on.
No. I wasn't interrupting. I wanted to add on to that. Also, keep in mind his father Rom became the Grand Nagus at the end of DS9.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, no, you're right. Like,
and Rom had a great character arc too, because he was an asshole. Yeah, and then he became a good person. He joined
the Bajoran. He joined the Bajoran.
The hot wife as well.
Yeah. I mean, between Nog joining Starfleet and Rom being the Grand Nagus, could you imagine those? Like they become like what if they became like the Federation, like more like the Federation, and then they had other races joining them after the burn? And like,
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm just thinking like regarding how Ferengis are. I want them to be a bit like how Romulans and Vulcans are. Like but not broken up into two races. Like the Ferengi is still one race of people, but they have different ideologies now. You've got people who want to be explorers. It's not about fucking Latinum for them. You know what I mean?
That would be amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I like that idea.
And it all stems from Rom and Nog, from their intertwining themselves into Starfleet and the influences they've left because of that. And how it's left a ripple effect, and 1,000 years later now we've got a shitload of Ferengis who want to explore. They want to be good people, and you got a whole shitload of other Ferengis that still want to double deal, want to fucking try and make a profit, and want to harken back to that's how they want to live. And that's what I would want to see from the Ferengi. That would be fucking great.
I don't know. I'm 100% on board with you on that. I think anything that is remotely close to that, I think would be awesome.
And it would be such a huge honor. Is it Jesse Eisenberg who played Nog?
Yeah.
It would be such a huge honor to him, that from his character being a Starfleet officer, that it changed the course for millions of Ferengis to not think the same way as other Ferengis. And I would love that. I would fucking love that. Or if
one of them has like the rules of acquisition, but then this honorable class like makes the rules of Nog, and like they start and they have like all these honorable codes and stuff like that. But it's like the rules of acquisition.
Yes.
All numbered, but then it's
man, we should write for fucking Star Trek, man.
I know, right?
God, that would be fucking. That would be great, and it works so well in this premise as well, Because I was thinking to myself when they changed Vulcan to Navarre, I'm thinking to myself, I like this.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are not gonna like this. I mean, he's the same way when Vulcan gets fucked with. It's either being destroyed or you're fucking changing his name or whatever. What I mean? But that's what I want from the Ferengis. And when it comes to the more from other familiar races, that the Cardassians. I'm not sure what we can get out of them. I've always found them to be Romulan light. I've always found them to be another version of Romulans.
Yeah, a bit. I agree with you. I feel like there should be a race that goes extinct for some reason. Not maybe a mystery, but like just a reason. Like I think I kind of feel like the Cardassians are the ones that the Cardassians are kind of the one. We haven't seen Cardassians yet in Discovery Season 3, have we?
We've seen them, but not as foreground characters.
Okay. Well, I mean, but maybe they're like an endangered species or something.
No, but like in the sense like when you see Michael, Mad Maxing it around before she joins up with Discovery.
Yeah.
And doing trades and stuff like that. You see a Kardashian in the background and stuff like that. And just to imply that, that they're still sharing the same universe, but, with the burn's affected everybody.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see the rectifications of that from next season as well. And the funny thing is like a planet's worth of dilithium, is still not enough for a universe. It's nowhere near enough. We're talking a universe here, yeah? One planet can't fucking supply a whole fucking universe. So unless all the meteorites around it, and it's got.
Well, keep in mind we're only in the Milky Way galaxy, because even let me say, even if Discovery does travel all around the galaxy, the mycelial network is I believe it's only in the Milky Way galaxy. So yeah, can they go to the Gamma Quadrant and the Delta Quadrant? Yes, but they can't. And that's another interesting aspect. What if they took an episode to go to the Delta Quadrant? Or what if they took, and I kind of want to find out what happened to the Borg, like
the Herosian and all those
the
other
Herosian, the Kazon,
Kazon,
I feel like, and maybe that's later seasons that we need to look into, maybe later seasons, but it's the mycelial network runs all along the Milky Way galaxy.
Regarding later seasons, this is the show where we need to get the spin-offs now. In my opinion, the same way they spun off of TNG, they need to spin off this show from this particular point in time, in very far in the future. I think they put us so far in the future now because some of Star Trek history is catching up with them a little bit. Into the fucking throw 1,000 years in the future, get away from us as much as possible. So yeah, and I want to see stuff spin out from that. Would it be a space station show set in that period, or something similar to Discovery as well after that? Go on.
I don't know about a space station series. I think DS9 basically.
No, the space station series is Starfleet. Make that the space station series.
You mean like Starfleet Command?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on board for that.
Make the Admiral the fucking lead show on that, and him having to.
Look, I still think the way that they made it sound, and I'm kind of sad that they didn't bring this up, but the way that they made it sound in the last 2 episodes is that the Admiral was actually the president of the Federation. They just didn't want to say that, obviously, because they didn't want him to be in danger. But I feel like the Federation is in such bad shape that he's doubling as like the Admiral and the president, because that they just don't want people to know how bad off the Federation is right now. Well, at least during that last season. I mean, it's probably going to start turning up now that they have dilithium, and now that they have, member races are joining back up. So I mean, I feel like if in next season they reveal that he's like, well, because the way he said it in that episode, be like, oh well, I have the president's full confidence or whatever. The way he said that, I'm like.
You just brushed it off, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, either you are the president and you're just not saying that, or this is just a stupid throwaway line. I really feel like that we should have had more, we should have met the president at that point if it wasn't him. And that might be just bad writing for Discovery, but I really feel like that a better reveal would be, well, I'm not only am I the Admiral of Starfleet Command, I am the president. And that information does not leave this room, because I have to have complete autonomy within Starfleet. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And regarding the Admiral, and I'm saying I don't feel I'm pissed off with myself. I feel I have to bring this up, but professionally, I want to see his relationship with Michael Burnham, because the best thing to ever happen to that Admiral was Michael fucking Burnham. Michael Burnham fucking saved his fucking world, pretty much. You know what I mean? Improved everything for him. Gave him a spaceship that can go fucking anywhere in the universe. Completed solved the riddle of the burn. Found a fucking pool of fucking dilithium, and killed Osira, who was a massive thorn in his side.
Yeah.
So Michael Burnham is the best thing to ever happen to that fucking Admiral, and I would love to see their relationship grow from that aspect, and it'll be interesting to see how they bond, next season.
Okay. I mean, I agree. There's a lot coming up in the next season of Discovery that can go right. There's a lot can go wrong. But I hope we are over that hurdle, and there's a lot that can go right because they know what us Trekkies want.
Yeah, they got like I said, they got the formula almost perfect last season. Almost put the hybrid formula of a story arc for the whole season, and to give us those Star Trek feelings and those Star Trek vibes in almost episodic like episodes. Like the first several episodes felt great in that sense. I mean, not with episode 1, and that was a good episode for its own right. But episode 2 felt like a Star Trek episode.
Mhm.
Episode 3 felt like a Star Trek episode. Episode 4 did. You know, episode 5 was a bit of a disappointment. That was when they finally found. Sorry, I'm getting all confused now. But the episode where we got reintroduced to Starfleet ended up being a bit of a disappointment. But the episode after that, where they saved Book, was not too bad. It felt Star Trek in a way of them, you know, interrogating, you know, some bad guys and saving some people and stuff like that. It's different ways of doing Star Trek. The diplomacy episode with the Navarians, you know, with the Romulans and the fucking Vulcans, and you know all of that. Very Star Trek in very many ways. And even then, just throwing a huge curveball with the Giorgio double episode, you know, which was totally off track and nothing to do with pretty much with the season in general when it came to the overall arc. And that's what we want in Star Trek as well. We want episodes which don't mean shit to the whole fucking season. It's just there. It's like, okay, they've got to deal with this shit today, and nothing else fucking matters. You know, that's what I want from next season.
Okay. And I agree with you on a lot of your points. Very diplomatic, as always, Sam.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that does it. I think we've covered all the upcoming series. We're hoping that will come out in 2021 with the pandemic. We have no idea. We know they are filming Discovery Season 4 right now. We know they have
been. They've been filming that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been filming for a while, yeah.
I think they've been filming Strange New Worlds for a while too. They might even be done. I don't know. I'm sure work on lower.
And they started filming Picard as well, I've heard.
Have they? Okay, so yeah. I mean, probably the latter half of this year, like kind of like this year. It's like the probably springtime. We're probably gonna not springtime. I'm sorry. Like late summer, early fall. Like we're probably gonna start seeing a lot of Trek every week again.
So we're just going back to Prodigy again. Do you know when that's coming out?
No idea. Never heard.
I feel like out of all the shows, I thought that might be the first one to come out this year. It felt more set up for that because it's been popping its head up now for more than 6 months. That show, when you would have thought, and it's the only one which is not Stranger Worlds is not created yet, but we've seen a lot of the characters from that, so they've already got a base. We haven't got fuck all. You know, Janeway was was decades ago now, so we haven't got fuck all for Prodigy, and I thought they would have had that ready maybe by spring this year.
And you know what? Maybe it, as I said, with animated, it's hard to tell because the animators are working from home. They're emailing all this stuff and doing all. I mean, they may be almost done with it. I mean, I haven't heard anything about voice. You know, because a lot of voice actors are working from home right now, so it's not like they can keep track of what these actors are doing without IMDb or social media. So we may be surprised all of a sudden we're going to get a release date for Prodigy and it's going to be like next month. Because So, all right. Well, I think that is it, Zam. So I think we're wrapping this up.
Quickly add regarding the animation, I do expect them to be a lot more efficient with that. As you said, because they're able to do pretty much everything they can from home. Mm-hmm. I mean, like the people who work on animation are just amazingly good at computers anyway. So when it comes to transferring of information and all of that, it shouldn't be too difficult. Obviously, voice recording as well shouldn't be too difficult. They can easily ship them a top quality fucking mic to make sure that they get the proper sound quality they need. They'll probably even give them the computer as well to go with it.
Well, probably. I mean, like with Kate Mulgrew and everything. I mean, they probably just go to their house and set up a whole studio in a closet. You know what I mean? That's what they do with a lot of these these actors that are not like voice actors per se. They set up a whole studio in their home in a room or in a closet. Like, there's plenty of actors who have they have like a big closet and they transform it into a voice acting.
Oh. One more thing before I forget. I want Mark Hamill in season 2 for one episode.
Of what?
Lower Decks.
Mark Hamill?
Yes.
Okay.
We're talking one of the greatest voice actors ever. Yeah. And the guy is the Joker as well. And obviously him being Luke Skywalker in Star Wars will add the funny effect. And he's a
So
good
you
voice
want to
actor.
have Riker and Mark Hamill doing negotiations in Lower Decks?
Possibly, but George Takei was in Clone Wars, dude. He's done them both, mate. Yes, he is. He played a character in Clone Wars. George Takei is the granddaddy, mate.
Okay.
Yeah. So if George Takei can go one way to the other, why not Mark Hamill? I mean, he's
I don't disagree with
it. I mean, the guy's done so much voice animation. It'll take it like a duck to water.
Okay. That's a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you everybody for watching us. If you have not yet already, please comment, like, and subscribe on our channel. We're a small channel, but we're growing. We try to give you the best content possible. Not only do we do Star Trek, but we also do Star Wars, Marvel, DC, video games. It's anything nerdy, but this particular podcast is for Star Trek. But if you're interested in any of our content, you can search us out on YouTube and on Facebook is under Nerd Nation. If you see the logo on our channel, or even it's down there on the little please join in the chat and give us your thoughts. That little Nerd Nation logo right there, that's what you're looking for. If you see that, you found us. Zam, thank you for joining me again for this Highly Illogical podcast.
Been fantastic. I loved every minute of it.
Yep, and I will see you guys. Well, we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Catch you later.